There was an idea to bring together a group of remarkable people.
To see if we could become something more.
So when they needed us, we could fight the battles
that they never could.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be listing off some of those family-friendly Halloween movies to get you into the spirit of Halloween this season. Since I don't like horror movies, I'm going to be naming off some of those fun family-friendly Halloween-themed movies. Now, some of these movies are not necessarily Halloween movies, but gives out that Halloween spirit and mood. Now, before I start on with this video, I'm gonna have a big announcement that's gonna happen somewhere around this video. So please watch this video all the way through and find out what's gonna be my special announcement. So let's just start off naming off some Halloween movies. Now, for this first movie, who you can call if you have any trouble during Halloween? This first movie I want to mention that's a must-watch during Halloween, and that is the Ghostbusters. Now, this movie is a lot of fun, okay? It has a lot of goofs, a lot of nostalgia for the older generation, and this movie is just a lot of fun. Like ghost hunters trying to hunt down some terrorizing ghosts. Like, for me, that's a really good time to watch. And if you enjoyed the first Ghostbusters, why not just watch Ghostbusters 2? Now, this next movie that I want to talk about is also a Halloween classic, and that is Beetlejuice. You know, this movie is about two deceased couple whose spirit started to harass this couple that moved into this new home, and it's up to this new family to summon an entity, which is Beetlejuice, to help them to get rid of those evil, nasty spirits that's been harassing them. Now, this movie is full-on Tim Burton madness right here. This is one of those Tim Burton movies that gives his fingerprints all over. You have your comedy, your creepiness, and of course, you have Michael Keaton's charm. Now, the next movie I want to talk about is this small movie you guys might have heard of, Casper the Friendly Ghost. Now, this movie is one of those classic movies from the early 90s. This movie is about this family who moves into a mansion, and along the way they meet Casper the Friendly Ghost, and Casper tries to warn them that the mansion is occupied by their evil family. So the whole point of this movie is trying to get rid of this evil ghost and having this mansion of ghosts. And you know, this movie is one of my movies that I watched in my childhood. And after you watch this movie, why don't you watch Casper Meets Wendy? You're like, that's the sequel or a reboot. Just watch those movies. You can have a lot of fun, a lot of great time watching those movies. And yeah, like I really recommend watching Casper and Casper Meets Wendy. Like, those movies are a lot of fun. Now, the next movie I want to talk about is stop motion movie called Monster House, which came out in 2006. And this is your definitive family calm Halloween movie with a little bit of scare. Now, pretty much the premise of this movie is three teens discover that one of their neighborhood houses turns out to be a monster, and you know, crazy ensues. Think of this movie as Ghostbusters, but kid-oriented. This movie is about three kids trying to investigate this weird house that's in their neighborhood and trying to see what's up, because you know, people are dying because of this house. So like, this kid's trying to understand what's happening in their neighborhood and trying to stop this house. And I mentioned this movie, some of the people behind this movie is Robert Zemeckis and Steven Spielberg. Last time they worked together, it was Back to the Future. So they decided to team up to bring this awesome, mild scary movie. When I was a kid, while watching this movie, I got scared with Monster House. Honestly, for me, this movie was scary for me. But at the same time, a lot of fun. I highly recommend watching Monster House if you haven't watched that movie yet. Now, the next movie on my list I want to talk about, which will really get you into the mood of Halloween, of the Halloween spirit, is the family-friendly version of Frankenstein. And in 2012, Tim Burton brought that version of Frankenstein to us in the form of Frankenweenie. This movie is a lot of fun. Imagine the whole Frankenstein concept, but instead of Frankenstein creating this monster, it is still a kid who's pretty much trying to bring back his dead pet. And this movie has a lot of heart, a lot of fun. This movie deals with loss. This movie brings that message of grief and loss. And I think kids will, when they watch this movie, they will start to understand what losing a loved one means. Tim Burton made a really great movies. And pretty much every Tim Burton movie, like Corpse Bride or any of those stop motion movies that Tim Burton made, are worth to be mentioned in this list. Tim Burton is the king of making both stop motion and those kind of like jumpy, scary, family-oriented movies. So pretty much Frankenweenie are worthy to watch Halloween season because it's scary enough that kids won't get terrified. Now, the next movie I want to talk about is a bit controversial. It won't be a complete Halloween list if I wouldn't include this movie on the list. And that is The Nightmare Before Christmas. And some people confuse this movie as a Tim Burton movie. Even myself, I always thought that this one was a Tim Burton movie, but it's not. Tim Burton produced the movie. This movie is debatable because people say that this is a Halloween movie, while others saying that, oh, but it's also a Christmas movie. But the creator of this movie came out and said that officially that The Nightmare Before Christmas is officially a Halloween movie. This movie is about is a dead skeleton named Jack and became a king of a small town called, ironically, Halloween Town. But along the way, he discovers that there's more to see than Halloween Town. He discovers Christmas. This one is about Jack trying to take over Christmas as well, so he can become the king of Christmas and Halloween. This movie is a lot of fun. I really enjoyed this movie. And I think this movie won an Oscar. Now, the next movie I want to mention in this list, which will also give you that Halloween mood, is the DCOM original Twitches. I watched this movie when it came out and I fell in love with it. And this movie is about is two teens that discovered that they're witches and that they have to defeat evil. And while you watch Twitches, why don't you go and watch Twitches 2? Because, why not? And Twitches 2, it's bigger and better than the original because there's this whole plot. If you're in love with Disney like I do, like this is a must watch. Now the next movie I want to mention is another stop motion movie, and that's kind of creepy but fun at the same time, and that is Coraline. And Coraline is pretty much this 11-year-old girl who moves into this new house and discovers a passageway and discovers that passageway leads to an alternative universe where her life is great. It turns out that dimension isn't that what it seems. So it's creepy for those who are getting to that kind of scary edge. This movie is great for you because it introduces that kind of eerie atmosphere of that Halloween movie, but still keeps that family-friendly feel of a Halloween movie. Now the next movie I want to mention is going to be another DCOM, which is one of my favorite movies to watch, and that is Halloween Town. And I saw this movie when I was a kid and I fell in love with it. This is the Halloween movie that features one of the world's monsters, but shows that the light-hearted side of not every monster is a bad guy. There are some good monsters out there that tries to just be peaceful. And there's some movies about a young girl who discovered that her family is a family of witches. So she decided to take her siblings to this Halloween town by following their grandmother and discovered that she is a witch, that she is trying to stop this evil entity that's terrorizing the town. This is one of the stories that I love to go back and watch every Halloween season. And while you're at it, why don't you watch the rest of the sequels? Halloween Town 2 is a great movie. Halloween Town High revolutionized what Halloween Town is. But of course, they had to ruin it by making a fourth entry, which is Return to Halloween Town, which this movie, say what you will, but this movie is a complete reboot. They tried to replace the main character as Kimberly J. Brown and replaced her with Sarah Jessica Parker. If Disney believes that we won't notice, come on, we noticed that Return to Halloween Town got a new cast. They just decided to not mention that at all. But after that gripe aside, this whole trilogy of Halloween Town movies is a great watch for everyone. This is a family movie that still holds up today. Now, the final movie I want to mention is, of course, my favorite Halloween movie. That is Hocus Pocus. And for me, this is the accumulation of all Halloween family movies, because you have this trio of witches trying to make evil, and this whole trio of witches is amazing. This movie has a lot of heart, a lot of comedy, and before this director became a household name, he made this small movie that originally came out in the early 90s that became a bomb, but it turned out to be a cult classic. This family moved into Salem, trying to learn that there's a story behind Salem and the whole witch trial. That's our lead, brought back the Sanger sisters, and now it's our main character's job to deal with that threat and to save the day before the witches can take over the world. I love this movie a lot. Even for me, I will watch this movie every day, but sadly I can't, because it's a Halloween movie and it kind of feels wrong watching this movie outside Halloween season. But that's it for my list of what movies you should watch on Halloween season if you don't like horror or paranormal movies. Oh, but there's also one last movie that I like to mention, and that is The Addams Family. And this movie is creepy, but it's also fun. This movie is very funny, kind of slapstick comedy. And you can watch any interpretation of the Addams Family. You can watch the live action movie that came out in the early 90s, or you can watch the new anime movie that came out last year or so. That's all for me in this video. I talked about one of those Halloween movies that you should watch. And before I go, earlier I mentioned that I was making an announcement. So here it is. Starting in November, I'm going to be starting to post 3 times a week. So far, I decided to post on Mondays and Fridays. So you can look forward to watching my videos 3 times a week. And yeah, that's it for the video. So stay tuned, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of my videos, and hit that bell to get notified whenever time I post. And you can follow my socials right here or down below, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.